All right, my friend, the days are long, but the years are short. And you do not hear this enough, but you matter. Today matters. How you show up today, how you see your wife, love your kids, show up for the world, it matters. And I just appreciate you for being here, for listening to this. Your role as a father is critical. 3 nuggets that hit me from my conversation with my friend today, Zack Ponder. 1, finding God as a special ed teacher. 2, supporting his wife through her cancer. And number 3, the difference of being a committed father versus a present one. Enjoy. Welcome to Fatherhood Field Notes podcast, where I interview truly incredible fathers gaining wisdom from their stories for you and I to grow in our own craft. I'm your guide, Ned Shout, father to 5 kiddos, currently ages 12 to 19, and husband to my rad wife, Sarah, working on her 21st year of marriage. So yes, I am in the thick of it. I am with you, and I'm working daily to rebel against the low expectations for fathers and create a world where fathers know who they are as they show up for their families. You and I have the greatest opportunity to impact our world through the way we embrace our fatherhood role. This episode is brought to you by the Adventure of Fatherhood, helping men discover their powerful fatherhood role and build their fatherhood skills. The role of fathers to serve, guide, steward, protect, and of course, find joy and have fun in the messiness of it all. Today's guest is my friend, Zack Ponder, incredibly resilient man, husband, father, leader, author, podcast host, business owner. My friends, this dude is incredibly inspiring. Everybody has a story, but listening to Zack really put some things in perspective for me. I hope it does for you too. Enjoy meeting this incredible man. Let's go. Zack Ponder, welcome to Fatherhood Field Notes. How you feeling today?
I feel good. I got a little nap in, so that was nice.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I am not much of a napper. I don't know. I just don't do it. Is it worth it?
I could fall asleep at any moment, at any time of the day, anywhere.
Well, I think I could definitely fall asleep, but I just don't do it. My friend was just telling me about he naps and he calls them nappuccinos.
Ah,
Says it's better than a cup of coffee at the afternoon.
interesting.
All right, Zack, first question. How old do you find yourself today?
I am 36 years old, almost 37.
Is that why your beard has way less gray than mine?
After this last year, I've developed a few grays on the side.
Yeah, I think we'll understand why after we talk to you for a bit. All right, so 36, 37. How many years you been married?
I've been married for 13 years.
Nice work, my friend. And then how many kiddos do you guys have? What's the youngest to the oldest on that spread?
I got 4 kids. Reef, he is 9 years old. I have Naya. She turns 7 tomorrow. I have Poppy. She is 4. And I have baby Jack. He is 1.
Love it. Good names too. And then where do you guys do life? Like, where are you guys doing life right now? What does it kind of the daily life look like?
Yeah,
Probably a loaded question for you, actually.
Yeah. Well, currently we are in Oceanside, California, and we also split time in Sandpoint, Idaho, where I have a construction business up there. But currently we're in Oceanside. Life looks like I homeschool the kids. I'm in charge of homeschool. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they're with me all day. Tuesday, Thursday, they do a co-op at our church for 4 hours, all 4 of them. It's amazing. And I coach my 9-year-old's baseball team. I do podcasts also. I have a special ed hustle. And yeah, we're pretty slow days right now. We're in bed like between the 7 and 8 o'clock hour. And I'm up every day at 4. I work out every morning at 5 a.m. And that starts off my day. And yeah.
Love it, dude. Okay, so then what do you do for a living to provide value out in the world and feed the family? So kind of give us both, right? Like you've got your business and then dig into a little bit more of what you're doing with your podcast and your books, etc.
Yeah, so I have a construction business in North Idaho. I have 4 guys and we do residential remodel. I've had that for 4 years. And so that's how I pay the bills. I got a project manager, 2 foremen, and then we bring in subs and they crush it. Now that I'm in San Diego, I have a podcast called The Unspecial Podcast where I interview parents of special needs families and hear their journey and their stories. And man, they got powerful, powerful stories. From that, before construction, I taught special ed. So it's always been huge on my heart. And if there's ever a time to start a special ed podcast, it's right now, especially everything going on in the news in the world with autism. So I've written a book called Special Days. It's 12 stories from my classroom. And I relate it back to the Bible and how I found God in my students and in turn made my days special. I have another 90-day devotional dropping here in December called Happy Days. And so it's been interesting being away from construction. I've always wanted to step out of it and not be so much in it. And being in California has opened up doors to pursue my passion and what ultimately I feel like God has called me to do. So that's my career.
So if I was to have you, I'm like, all right, you have 3 minutes right now, 3 minutes. It's all you get. Just tell the story of how you found God through your students. Tell us that. Like, break it down if you had like a very short window to explain that to somebody.
Yeah, so I taught profound autism, which, if you're not familiar with autism, on the profound side, it's non-speaking and it's violent. And so through not being able to communicate with my students, I was forced to really be in tune with their behaviors and who they were. And so I really became a professional on how to read students and how to read people. And through those interactions, I was able to see kind of like the psychological side of people. And through that, it was hard, long days. And I would deal with parents who are dealing with some crazy, hard lives. And I really just dove into like why they operate, how they operate, like why are they doing what they're doing. And then at the time I was volunteering at a high school ministry. And so everything I learned through the Bible, I would just apply it through my day. And really, the days were so draining. I would get to the end of them and I'd be like, I need to switch my mindset and my perspective on how I go about my days because I'm not going to make it through the school year. And so I really just started looking for God every day, all day long. And he was presenting himself through my students and how they interacted and what they did. And so I gleaned all those insights and found that every day can be special if you find God in it. Bottom line.
Okay, how many years ago was this?
Now, I started teaching when my 9-year-old was born. So I haven't taught for the last 4 years. So that was 2016.
Okay. I have a question that I want to ask you based on the questionnaire you filled out before you came on. But before I do, I think it's very easy to go, okay, that was 10 years ago and you didn't have kids and you weren't living this glamorous life where you have a business in Idaho and you live in San Diego based on what you've shared so far. So that's great. You're able to reflect now. It's like, okay, happy days. Now, you're already smiling. Now, before I ask my question, now give me the kind of like 3-minute summary of why you're in San Diego now and what does life look like as the perfect Southern California surfing family. What does that look like actually?
Yeah. So why I'm in San Diego? I'm in San Diego. A year ago, my wife came down with cancer and it obviously rocked our world and it forced us to come out to San Diego for her cancer treatment. And through that, for 10 months, we lived with my in-laws and now we're on our own.
I'm sure it was epic.
Yeah. That's another conversation.
We'll leave that for another day.
I will say they are incredible people. But in Genesis, when it says leave and cleave, that's no joke.
There's a reason.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Southern California life. I mean, we live half a mile from the beach. It's sunny every single day of the year. So probably even after this podcast, we're going to load up the car with all the kids and some food and we're going to play at the beach. Like it's the dream.
It is the dream, but also you're dealing with this. You moved here for your wife and maybe just dive into that a little bit because there's a question I want to ask you in the midst of like all of this, it's not over. I mean, shoot, you just said that your youngest Jack is 1 and your wife found out she had cancer 1 year ago. So there's like a lot happening at one time. So what's the good and what's the wrestle for right now in this season of your family?
It's holding space for God is good. He's taking care of us. He's been with us he's been with us 2 years before the cancer even broke out when I started with Rise Up Kings. Like he was behind the scenes all along, working in us and through us and to prepare us for this journey. Without that work beforehand, like there's no way we would be where we're at. Like we were so, especially me, when I found Rise Up Kings, I was coming fresh off of a DUI. I was like a year and a half into my business. I was spinning out. I couldn't figure out how to show up for my wife, how to show up for my kids, for the business, and just juggle all entrepreneurship brings you. And so, yeah, I would say holding space for all the good, but then also the reality of we're still in the midst of a cancer journey that we don't know what the outcome is going to be. There's signs where things are improving and it's getting better, but it's holding on to that faith that God is going to continue to hold us and guide us through it all.
So interesting. So I'm doing John Tyson's Primal Path with my 16-year-old son. So I have 4 girls and a boy, and my son I'm homeschooling, and we start every day off with it's like whatever devotional essentially for kind of becoming a man. And this morning's was on when delays and like when you're really disappointed, there's 3 responses. There's blame, there's sulk, or there's trusting in God. So in real life, right? Like I'm talking to a 16-year-old and he lives in Hawaii and he's like, I mean, he had a knee surgery, so he's tied up from his ACL surgery from last Wednesday. But my question to you is, it's one thing to talk about that when you're 16. It's another thing to talk about it when you're a husband with a spouse that has an illness, to 4 kids that you're homeschooling, etc. How do you keep yourself from falling into blame or even like, why the heck, God, is this happening to me, or sulking? How do you go to that third step of trust? Like, how do you actually live in that as a 36-year-old man?
Yeah, dude, that's something I'm learning right now. I'll never forget when Jack came home from the NICU. He spent 9 weeks in the NICU. He was born 2 pounds, 15 ounces. He was in the womb for 4 weeks after we found out my wife had cancer. And yeah, during those no, not 4 weeks. He was in for, 4 weeks. 29 weeks he came out. And he came home. He was home for a week. The third night he was home, we couldn't sleep for like 4 months at night because he had such bad reflux. He would choke. So you had to stay up. He had to be upright at all times. Thankfully, we had a ton of help. Like, talking about God being in the midst of it. We had 15 random moms sign up for a baby train. We made it up. It was a meal train for babies, and they would come over and stay up all night with them. We would meet the women at the front door. We didn't even know who they were. We knew our friends set it up. It was all her friends. That third night, I was walking around the house with them, and he went limp for like 30 seconds. I thought I lost him. And I'm running all over the house. He finally comes back to. A couple days later, my wife is holding him. Same thing. Turned blue. Ambulance came, checked him out. He came back too. They're like, oh, he's fine. He's okay. 2 hours later, my mother-in-law, same thing. But this time they took him and we went back to the NICU. And I remember getting to the NICU I followed the ambulance to the NICU. I'm laying there in the NICU staring at the ceiling. And the question that kept running through my head was, why? Like, why, God? Why is this happening? And before all this, man, our life was so cush. Like, it was so chill. Nothing, it was just your easy life. And I remember laying there like, why did you have to take all this from us? Like, why am I here? And I remember coming to the realization of I can sit here and ask why, but it's going to lead me down a path to victimhood. And all the ruck training and mindsets are floating in my head. And I started switching my why to what. And I started asking, what are you doing, God? What is the purpose in all this? What is happening that it's happening for us? And so what that looks like now is when I find myself asking why, I just ask what. Like, and what, when I ask what, it brings me to a place of surrender, of like, here I am, God. I don't know what you're doing. I'm never going to understand it. I don't know why I have to watch my wife suffer. It doesn't make sense. And I mean, every day I'm pleading and begging God, like, can you please take this from her? But in the midst of all of it, asking what has been the game changer for sure.
Man, the other thing that I'm hearing in the what versus the why, and just like your posture towards it, is I've been digging more into like the kingdom of God here and now, and God's desire to partner, right? I mean, that's how he made it. You talk about Genesis. He creates this place for men and women to rule and reign and have dominion over, right? You will be fruitful, you will multiply. It's like, we're not supposed to be sitting around waiting for something to happen or Jesus to come back to like rescue us all. There's work to be done right now. And so in the what, I feel like that steps you up to the plate. You're like, yo, what's going on here that I can participate in? Like, you're doing something. I don't really get it. I don't get it, but I don't want to be a complainer about it. There's some things happening. Not that I think God, we live in a broken world, right? So I don't think God like gives cancer to people, right? So I don't want it to be like that. But in the midst of the brokenness, there is opportunity. And so I just want to say, I love the question, what, because it puts you up at the batter's box to be like, all right, what's going on here so that I can be, or like construction, right? Like, you're the guy who rolls up to the house. You're like, yo, what do you want to do? All right, so let me use my hands and brain to help you accomplish that. And so that's what I'm hearing in the what. And look at, dude, you are being faithful, bro. I mean, just the fact to be able to homeschool your kids, like I'm homeschooling one kid, and it is like, it's like literally, dude, it's like I do Bible with him at 9. So I'm like in important meetings, and then I run out and totally shift gear to do Bible. And then I come back to Zoom calls where I throw on a polo to talk about health insurance with a client or a team or whatever. And then I throw this on and talk about fatherhood. And then I'm going to go do a finance class with him after. So like I get it. And I'm doing that with one kid.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about the what, there's a lot of opportunity to step up and do some work, and you're doing it.
Yeah. And it's been a long time coming. I mean, there's been a lot of work in the background to get to this point. Obviously, a ton of incredible homies to push me along.
Yeah. Well, so something you put in the form that I sent out to you, which I wanted to ask you about, but I wanted to preface it first with, you shared about the 9 years ago finding God through like a really kind of amazing way. But then even you hear your day in, day out, you got to imagine the intensity of your days, or not intensity, but like the weight of it. You put down, I asked you, what are you learning? And you said, I've learned that I need God all day. And I feel like it's obvious why you say that in hearing your story, but I would love for men to hear that, because I think we can be good at like, I woke up, did my devotion for 15 minutes, and then I'll see you tomorrow, God. So talk to me about this, like learning that you need God all day. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's even like this morning. It's just a moment by moment opportunity. Like this, like,
Yeah.
so we started seeing a chiropractor, nervous system chiropractor. We're on like 6-month care plan, and we go 3 days a week. And in the healing process, you take a dive before you go up. And I think we're kind of at the bottom with my wife. Like, there's a lot of, for a while, she couldn't even walk. And then we had like a 3-month stretch where her strength's coming back. She's walking. Like, you couldn't even tell she had cancer.
Wow.
And now we're kind of relapsing a little bit where she's in a ton of pain right now. And so this morning, kids go to school at 9. She's on the couch, can't really do much. And I'm trying to get all the kids ready. The baby has a blowout. He tried to eat a bee this morning. He got stung in the mouth.
You can't make this crap up. Yeah.
The other 3 kids are bouncing off the wall. Normally, I'll take them out and get some energy going. And it's in that moment, like this morning, where it's like, God, I need you right now. I can't even make it to 9 o'clock. And there's a lot of moments like that where we're just praying, like, we need to make it to tomorrow. We just need to get to tomorrow. And then you're in that mindset of just put your head down and make it to the next moment. But prior to any of this, like, it's crazy when you go through hard and suffering, you realize how limited you are with your own strength. And it's inside all of these challenges and hardships where I've really come to a place and realized, like, I need God at every moment of my day, especially on my side of things, as the husband, as the father.
Right.
It's like, if I'm not on point, it's all going to fall apart. Like, I'm the leader of this family. And that's why I go to the gym at 5 every morning. It's my 1 hour to blow some steam and just get after it. And it sets up the rest of my day. And I think through all of it too is when I was listening to one of your other podcasts and you asked a question, maybe you're going to ask it. Maybe I'm jumping the gun, but
do it, bro.
It was like, when did you embrace fatherhood? And honestly, I can't really say I embraced fatherhood until probably 6 months ago.
Whoa.
And my son,
what shifted?
It was like, it's in that hospital, man. I'm sitting there and thinking to myself, if I don't keep it together, if I'm not strong, then the family, it's going to fall apart. And so I think in those moments, I really started to embrace it. Of like, all right, they're all looking up to me right now. And it's time for me to grab the reins and start to lead this family. And so, but since then, it's been incredible. Like, I love it.
What shifted in the day to day? So, like, in this shift of like, all right, I'm going to grab the reins or this thing's falling apart. Was there anything you could practically say that changed, or how much of it's like mindset?
The biggest one was the decision to homeschool the kids. That came this last summer. And we got a lot of criticism from friends and family. Like, now is not the time to homeschool your kids. You guys aren't going to be able to handle all of it. It's too much. You need to focus on your wife's healing. And I just knew that's where God was leading us. And from that, man, like, through all this too, my relationship with my kids is 10x. Like, when they had to come to me and let me be the father and just come to me in such a time of need, it's like our relationship is so much better. And it's those things. I mean, you hear sometimes with people on cancer journeys where they get to the end of it and they're like, yeah, I'm thankful it happened. There is a lot of these moments where it's like, I don't know if I could be saying that if this didn't happen.
Can you speak to, for a minute, I mean, it's obviously you didn't choose this path, but you're kind of talking about the learned things from this path. But I look at so many men in America who are just seeking comfort. Like, I mean, just to such a, like, we are just, how do I make everything easier? Now, don't get me wrong. I would absolutely love to have a clean garage. I just would.
Yep.
I feel like I would feel better about myself, but I'm going to clean it and mow the lawn and it's all going to come back. Like, it's all going to come back. So my point is, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, we're trying to like make everything work well and be perfect and comfort, but what's lost in that?
I think comfort's the enemy, to be honest. I think that's where many dads and men have dropped the ball, and they get complacent and they stop seeking improvement. They get comfortable and then you get lazy and you stop pursuing your wife. You stop pursuing your kids. It's through uncomfort where you really start to be refined and you find some better mindsets and how to go about.
Let me ask you a question on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see a lot of men, and don't get me wrong, I love hitting the gym. I love pushing hard. I love all that. But what are your thoughts on like us using the gym or a cold shower or a cold plunge as I'm not saying don't do those things, but like I did those things. So maybe I'm not leaning into my marriage or leaning into my kids in the discomfort that comes from those, which I have way less control of a bit. I feel like there's a little miss. Like we're talking about being like pain is the path. Yes. But am I stepping into things that are actually like really like hard?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you
I
think?
think that is exactly where I was up until 6, 8, 10 months ago. I would do
Mm,
the things. I thought I was showing up for
hmm
my wife. I thought I was showing up for my
hmm
family. But I think what's missed and what I have found is what we learned at Ruck. We're human beings, not human doings. I think it's
mm,
so many guys get so caught up in
tough
doing
one.
because that's what we do, man. We execute. We want to feel success.
Hmm
We want success. And so it's
hmm
easy to do those things. But what's difficult is sitting on the couch every night, massaging my wife's feet while she cries and shares her emotions and sitting there and listening, and not just listening, but actively engaged in a conversation and providing comfort and advice and just somebody for her to talk to. Like prior to all this, even in the hospital in the early days, I didn't know how to show up in those moments. I had no idea. But now it's ironic too, starting the podcast. I started it in the hospital. And in the
Wow,
podcast,
that's awesome.
essentially, I hold a space for special needs parents to be seen and heard. And
Mm,
for 12 years of my marriage, my wife would say that to me. I just want to be seen. I just want to be heard. And it's
mm.
like having the podcast and practicing with other random people on how to hold that space for my wife. That's been the difference. And she told me last night that
Mm.
exact thing. She's like, I feel like the podcast is a training. Everything I've ever wanted is to be seen and heard. And I'm experiencing that in the last 6 months because
Wow.
that's how God has worked in that.
Dude, that's incredible. Yeah, I love that. It's so good. In your opinion, I think it's already coming out, but in your opinion, if you were going to speak to a 25-year-old dad who's new, what would you tell him the role the father is? What would you say his job is?
I'd say his job is to lead. I feel like we said, you can get complacent. And what I've noticed, and I experienced it too, is when I was 25, I wasn't that leader in the house. I was married. We were friends. We got along. But when it came down to like decisions, I didn't want to rock the boat. I just kind of went along with it. And then it forces the wife to lead subconsciously too. It creeps up. So I'd say the father's role is to lead his wife to I mean, ultimately holiness. We're reading a Sacred Marriage right now, and it's all
Cool.
about marriage isn't for your happiness, it's for your holiness. When you
Mm,
look at marriage in a lens like that, you got two different individuals living together, especially in a 25 at a young age, and you're different. You don't see things the same. But if you're seeing it in a lens of how does this make me holier? How does this make me more like Christ? Then that's the pinnacle of it. And not only just lead in like everyday life, but lead in spiritual matters, like praying with your.
yeah. So if you were to say, okay, praying with your wife. Yeah. So you've said leading, and then you talked about decision making, not looking for a mother in your wife, essentially, right? Her
Yeah.
to make all the decisions. So would you give a couple other pieces to it? So what is leading? So decision making, spiritual kind of foundation for the family. Is there anything else that comes to mind when it comes to leading, what that means or looks like?
I think ultimately, it looks like at the end of the day, if you're leading correctly, even if your wife doesn't agree, she's going to submit to your authority. And I know
Mm.
there could be a lot of controversy around that. As the Bible says, wives submit to your husbands. But then it also says that husbands love your bride like Christ loved the church. And that means even in the pain and the suffering and the not so good moments, which I think is the hard, that's the difficult part. You stand up there and you get married and you say, till death do us part. But I don't think we really understand the brevity of that. I see
Right.
it now when I watched my wife near death in
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
hospital bed, not at her best at all. Her appearance has changed. Like all those material things
Mm.
are completely out the window. Yeah, leading. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the issues we have is that we don't really have a definition of love. Like we have one word for it, love, right? And but if you look at 1 Corinthians 13, it's like love is patient, love is kind, love doesn't envy, it doesn't boast. So if you're talking about you want your wife to submit to you, everybody cringes for the most part these days, but it's because dudes, for the most part, at least culturally, you don't see this, or globally, really, is you don't see men laying down their lives for their families. It happens all the time. It happens. It's just not what we see as often. But it's like when you lay your life down for those around you and don't keep score of it, like, well, I've done this for the last 9 days so that you would then respond and submit. No, that's not what we're talking about here. Naturally, I think women are designed to want to follow that leading. And that leading is not the shot collar prick patriarch of whatever we want to define that as, is like a man who dies every day for his family for the sake of them. And that's what you're talking about, right? Like who doesn't want to follow that? Who doesn't want to be around that guy? Like that's easy. Sign me up. And that's, I think, what we're missing is like, let's just be that guy. And then the hard part is like, I'm going to be that guy regardless of how everybody responds around me, because that's just the kind of guy that I am.
Mm,
But that's the work God's doing on you and me, right?
mm,
And it's going to take, when you and I are sitting here in 10 more years, we'll be like, dude, when I was 35 or 42, it's like, man, we'll see our immaturities if we're on the path of growth, not just staying like an immature kid forever.
right. And it's too,
Any other thoughts before I move to my next? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I guess like if you want to know if you're leading, it's like, is anybody following? Is your wife, is she letting you lead? That was another a big thing we've learned throughout this last year is my wife
Yeah.
has come to a couple of realizations that she's seen me wanting to lead this whole time, but she was kind of getting in the way. And so it came some multiple conversations on like, you got to trust me with this. And how do we move past this? Um, and I think a big thing with leadership too is it's caught, not taught. Like it's through your
Yeah.
actions and your consistency every single day showing up where that makes all the difference. Because you can show up on a Sunday and be like, oh, all right, we're going to do this and we're going to go
Yeah.
this way. And then come Wednesday, you're not doing anything you said, then you're not really leading.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is is anybody watching? Is anybody following? And then if they're following, are they doing it because they're walking on eggshells and scared to death of what's going to happen if they don't?
Yeah.
Or are they doing it because they feel safe?
Yeah.
And like as a man, that's huge. Like, do people feel safe around me? Or is it like kids are looking out the window? I hope dad had a good day today. And like, you don't want to be that guy.
No.
And there's no reason to be that guy. It's like, get your crap figured out
Mm.
and be who you were made to be. With that being said, a lot of that comes with what we were shown, what we were taught, what we've seen. So in that regard, I typically ask about a guy like about your dad. And so the question is, what's something you appreciated about your dad? And then what's something you wish your dad would have done differently?
Yeah. My dad, I mean, he's awesome. I was blessed with incredible parents. They were always there for us. My dad's been a pastor my whole life. So
Mm.
spiritual matters, he taught us the Bible. He taught us what truth is and how to operate in that. Yeah. Looking back, you always see like, what generational curses do you want to break? with your family. I feel like I modeled what I saw as a kid for years. I was with the family, I'm committed to the family. I was never going to go anywhere, but I wasn't present. And I
Mhm.
feel like my dad, he worked a lot. He was in church a lot. So he cared for a ton of people. And I felt at times maybe they kind of took precedent over us, but not always. There's just like little things I would pick
Yeah.
up. And so if I could have changed anything, it would have been just having him more present at home. I mean, he's awesome. We're best friends. We can talk about anything. And that's kind of something I want my kids to always know I'm present. If they want me to go play
Mhm.
baseball, I'm going to go play baseball. They want me to go do
Yeah.
just be with them. And it's night and day. I can tell like when my kids are spinning out, it's because we're not with them
Mhm.
and their behaviors start to come out. And it's just, if I just sit down, look them in the eye, like, hey, I really got to do this work, but I'm going to spend 30 minutes with you right now. What do you
Mhm.
want to do? So it's some of those little micro moments where it makes all the difference.
Yeah, you're investing it. I think it's a great question for guys to ask themselves kind of like on the regular is what am I prioritizing right now? Like, and then, so if you were to ask me to list out on a sheet of paper, what are my priorities? Oh, my wife, kids, God, whatever. But then if I looked at my calendar and looked at my energy and my responses to my family, is it true? Is it true or not?
Mm,
And it's not necessarily always just time, like you said, in meaning in the amounts of time. Like, obviously, I might have to go to work for 7, 8 hours today,
right.
right? Right. I mean, that's just the reality of it. But what am I doing with that? How intentional am I being with that additional time with my kids? Am I investing time with that in that relationship? And especially like you're doing now, dude, when your kids are young, because it's like you got this middle school ages coming and then high school. And it's like you want them to keep talking to you through high school. And then ultimately you want them to keep talking to you in their 20s and 30s and 40s, right?
Right.
Like you said, you're best friends with your dad. That's amazing. But only you and I and the dads listening, that's on our shoulders to cultivate that.
Yeah. I had a buddy tell me, I don't know, a year ago, he said, talk to your kids about nothing so that one day they talk to you about everything. And that
Mhm.
really sat with me. It's like,
Good.
there's going to come a day when they're not going to want to talk to me. So I need to put in the
Mhm.
time now. And that was a big part of the decision to homeschool. It's like, all right, our kids
Mhm.
have gone through a year of trauma, a year of stress. They've watched mom go through 7 rounds of chemo. They literally have
Mhm.
seen mom like close to death. And
Mhm.
I don't want them to be around anybody of any position to speak life into them but me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's like every morning we start with daily affirmations. They sit with me in front of the mirror. I mean, they're right here. It's like my oldest, I'm strong, I'm loving, I'm kind, I'm funny, I'm brave, I'm a child of God. They all end it with a
Mhm.
child of God. And it's like
Love it.
those words we speak over them is power. Because, I mean,
So
the
powerful.
world around them, especially in Southern California, is not sending them that message. I can't even imagine
Mhm.
when they're 18 what it's going to look like. And so they need to know who they are.
100%. That's our job as fathers is to I've been thinking about this more and more. Two things is like our job as fathers is really to point, like to teach our kids who they are, right? Like we teaching them that you're a child of God, etc. But then also this opportunity we have of like make your bed, brush your teeth, kind of structure, etc., is not so that they like worship us as this. We're not making ourselves God. It's teaching them how to be obedient so that then when they do leave the house, they understand that they're not God and that there is a way that they were created and made where there is a life source that's available to them. Just like you're saying, right? Like you've learned how that you need God all day, right? Like you've learned the obedience of like, I need this, But I think that's our job, opportunity as fathers. Like why we're teaching them all this is for the sake of like the kingdom. And something you said that I thought was, man, that this is such a weird word these days, but you said, my dad taught me truth, what truth is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it rolled off your tongue real easy. I think a lot of people want to push back on what that means.
Right.
What is truth?
Yeah. I mean, truth is about what God says. Everything always went back to the Bible and God's word. And there's so many
having that anchor.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many conflicting messages out in the world, but it was instilled in us at an early age that everything goes back to the word of God. What does God say about this? Does God say, especially for my girls, man, they're 4 and 7. Like the world's telling them your hair's not the right color, you're ugly. And it's like, that's not true. What does God say about you? And then I tell my girls every single morning, every day, you're beautiful, you're beautiful. What are you? I'm beautiful. Like they need to believe that so they have those anchors. Because, I mean, when they get to your daughter's age,
it's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it comes back to that. Do you have a voice in their life, right? Do you have a voice? And so that's the thing is what I've learned is ultimately it's not so much do you have a voice in their life? It's that do they have a voice in yours? Meaning, are you listening to them? Like if they're 5 and it's about whatever, if they're 15, right? You want them to feel like they have voice in your life, that you are listening to them. And I remember, dude, recently, like one of my daughters had her first boyfriend and like you and I are grinders. We go hard all day, whatever. But her statement about why, so they broke up, and her statement about why she was sad about it was she said, he just listened to me. He listened to me. That was her statement. And she wasn't saying that I didn't, but I bet 15-year-old dude was listening to her a lot more than I was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he had all the space to. So it just was this big reminder to me that car rides, 4-bed, walks, sitting on the back porch, whatever, whenever and however I can create space to just listen and then say, man, I loved hearing about your day.
Wow.
But actually like hearing it, right? Like I listened. I could remember 2 days later and go, hey, how is whatever? You were having some trouble with your one friend. How are things going now? Like remembering is super.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Zach, as you think about your kids moving out of your home, right? So at some point they're going to move out of your home, which is gnarly, right? Because you're like in this super cool stage, but you're also developing your kids through homeschool and very highly intentional. What are the 3 things? You have to choose them right now. When they leave your house, they're only going to know 3 things. What are those 3 things that are critical for them to know leaving your home?
Oh, man. I mean, number 1, that their identity is found in Christ. Mm-hmm. That's the foundation of all of it. The second one that just jumps to my head is that their decisions and shortcomings don't define them.
That's good, dude.
No matter. I struggle with this. My 9-year-old, like he has this fear of messing up. I'm trying to get through to him like, bro, you're going to mess up over and over again. I mess up on a daily basis, but you got to come back to the place of what did you learn? Why did it happen? What kind of get curious and all that stuff. So yeah, their decisions don't define them. And I think it would be serve others. That's what we're here for. God wants us to be with people, to love people, and to point them to truth. Yeah, so child of God, your decisions don't define you, and find somebody to serve.
Yeah, dude, beautiful. And I totally get and love the decisions don't define you. I think it's really important. You're basically like, some decisions are going to be incredible and some aren't. And so don't define yourself by your failures, whatever might come. But what would you say decisions slash like habits, like what, so our identity defines us. It's so tough. It's like chicken and the egg, but it's still my habits and my rhythm and the fruit that I produce out in the world is a reflection of who I am. So I guess it's, anyways, what are your thoughts on that? So it's not so much the decisions. I mean, my decisions matter clearly. But it's almost like, what do I do with like I make a decision. I don't have all the information. It doesn't go as planned. It's what do I do next? Those things over time do reveal my character. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess it would be if you're if you repeatedly are choosing the wrong choice, then I guess that kind of does define your character, right?
But I understand. Yeah, but I understand your point is like go live boldly, knowing who you are.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to have it perfect. I mean, I still like don't want to look stupid. Like that would be my
Right.
insecurity. When it's like I clammed up yesterday. I'm having a conversation with my wife and I feel stupid in the moment and like I want to shut down. Luckily, I'm at the point where I'm like, hey, yo,
Right.
feeling this way right now. So I can talk it through, but it's still something I wrestle with.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You just got to wrestle with it.
Yeah, I think that's the point of life, right?
Yeah.
Okay, coming up to the end here. And before we go, where can people learn about you? Where can they find your book, your devotional, your podcast? Where can they find all that information? And you friends listening, please share it. Like there's no greater need, I think, than family. I also think that the kingdom of God, if you want to talk about the importance of that, is reflected first and foremost in the family. I think that is the reflection of it. So to me, the family is the most important thing. And we're such a need right now. Like my bent is fatherhood, right? Zach's is fatherhood parenting and talking about parents with special need, the children and their experiences. Like let's promote the family and help people find resources to just continue to dig into what it means to be a family. So with that being said, Zach, where can people learn about you and get your resources, et cetera?
Yeah. Instagram, Unspecial LLC is the handle, or Zack Ponder, ZACK Ponder. Instagram. The podcast is on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, the Unspecial Podcast. Unspecialllc.com is our website. And yeah, the book is on Amazon. Special Days, DAYZ, blue cover, some clouds on it. And then Happy Days will be there as well, DAYZ. I have some dreams with my dad right now. We're dreaming up some kids' books with the days. It's going to be in the title somewhere. So yeah, Amazon's the
Love it.
book. And yeah, I mean, kind of you can find it. Facebook, same thing, on Special LLC. You can find it all over.
Love it. Well, dude, thank you for what you're doing there. We talked about this speaking life, speaking blessing. Before we go, if you could imagine there's a dad who's mowing his lawn on a run in a car right now listening to us, what's something you would speak life into him? If you were to speak blessing into his life, what would you say?
I say before you can show up for your kids, you need to show up for yourself. I think a lot of dads, they sell themselves short and they overlook the whole self-care. They think it's selfish, or they take it to the extreme and then they're not showing up. They're just showing up for themselves, but in a not effective way. So I'd say get that under wrap. The biggest thing that I learned growing up too, my dad always said it over and over again, is the way to your wife's heart is through your kids. And so continually show up for your kids. And in that, your wife is going to see you, and your relationship with your wife is first. It's so easy, especially when kids are young, to put all of your energy into the kids and forget about your relationship with your wife. And that's the biggest thing, man, especially at these early days. Like the kids soak up everything we do. And so if they see me hugging my wife, kissing my wife, loving my wife, like those subconscious patterns are going to repeat in their
Huge.
heads. And then every I don't know, every dad's fear is that their daughters or their kids pick the wrong spouse. And that starts with you. They're going to want to marry who they saw in the house. And so
Mm-hmm.
some of those things like really became evident in this last year is my kids' lives are at stake right now. And so it's time to start setting that example. So that would be
Dude,
it.
amazing. Amazing. I love it. Zack, dude, thank you so much for the man you are, for continuously working on yourself, for loving God, loving your wife, loving your kids, putting a lot of intentional time and presence into all of them. Keep doing what you're doing, dude. Blessing the world with the way that you see it, talk about it, and influence it. And I love the work you're doing with the special days is really incredible. So just keep at it. Much love to you and your family, and just, dude, blessing life in your home. And I look forward to our paths crossing again, future.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for holding the space.
All right, let's go. What a solid dude. What a great conversation. The things I'm really walking away with is, you're talking to this guy, you're hearing, just feels very grounded, feels confident, but not to this like overly cocky, I'm trying to be anything that I'm not. There's these moments where it's like, oh yeah, we're sharing all this stuff. And then boom, I feel like I embraced fatherhood 6 months ago. And you're like, whoa, really? Talk me through it. Right. So you just clearly see him on a journey, and realizing he's still on this journey. And I just think it's so important for you and I. And then hearing, like, dude, a 1-year-old, and then your wife's been going through cancer this last year. And I'm irritated, like what's something I'm irritated about right now? I have too much work to do. It's my busy season for work. Are you like, you're serious, dude? That's what you're stressing about, or maybe snapping? Like literally, I kind of was rude to my wife a little bit ago, and I just sent her a text saying, hey, I'm sorry. Thanks for being patient with me. So it's these conversations, it's these things where you go like, yo, if things are going well, and if they're not, right, my character shouldn't be determined by my circumstances. How am I showing up? But if things are well, how am I not just doing what I need, but also helping to take care of others, helping to be there for other people? So just spending time with Zack, so incredible. Go check out his podcast, please. Please go order his book. I mean, read it, but I don't care if you order it, order two, give one away, write a review on Amazon. It's so important to help encourage and spread the word for guys who are working to make a difference. Write a review on this podcast. Takes a couple minutes, but it helps spread the word that fatherhood matters. Thank you to all you dads out there listening to Fatherhood Field Notes podcast. What you do matters. Don't be like everybody else. Be yourself. That's who your kids, spouse, and community needs. This is your guide, Ned Shout. Together, let's rebel against the view that fatherhood has little impact, and let's create lives engaged in mastering the craft of fatherhood. I look forward to hanging out with you next time. If you got a question, a thought, a guest, shoot me an email, ned@rebellandcreate.com. Until next time.